这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的英语能力在美国日常生活是完全够用的，对别人表达自己的想法也是没有问题的。像学母语一样学英语，我们开始吧。
The world is hard. Bad men do bad things, mean things. Good men cannot be nice then. They must be tough, real tough, so scary. The bad men stop. We call them the shameless bastards. They are not afraid to be rough, to do what must be done their own way, to stop bad ways. This is a story about a time like that. In a pretty country with green fields and old houses lived a farmer. He worked hard with his girls. One sunny day, a car with soldiers came up the little road to his farm. The farmer's heart went thump, thump. He knew these soldiers were not nice. Their leader, a man named Hans, got out. He smiled a lot, but his eyes were cold. He came into the farmer's kitchen and sat down. He asked for a glass of milk. As he drank it, he talked and talked. His voice was soft and nice, but every word made the farmer more and more scared. Hans was a hunter, but he did not hunt animals. He hunted people. These people were hiding because the soldiers wanted to hurt them. He was very good at finding them. He asked the farmer, "Are you hiding people the soldiers don't like?" The farmer tried to be brave, but he was shaking. He loved his family. He didn't want anything bad to happen to them. Hans kept talking. He guessed things. He made the farmer feel like he was trapped in a tiny box. The farmer could hear the floorboards make a little sound from under the floor. A family, the Dreyfus family, was hiding there in the dark. They held their breath. At last, Hans leaned in close. "If you tell me where they are," he said soft and low, his voice like a snake, "I will let your family live." The farmer felt broken inside. He loved his family more than anything. With tears in his eyes, he pointed to the floor. Hans' smile got bigger. It was a very bad smile. He called his soldiers. They pointed their big guns at the floor. Bang! 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 The sound was so loud and bad. The farmer closed his eyes. His heart was broken. But one person, a young girl named Shosana, was quick. She was small and fast. When the shooting started, she found a little hole. She crawled out from under the house. She ran into the fields. Hans saw her. He lifted his gun. He aimed, and then he put it down. He watched her run. She was a tiny shape, getting smaller and smaller. "Goodbye, Shosana," he called out. He had a strange laugh. Shosana didn't look back. She just ran. It was hard to breathe. Tears rolled down her face. A fire of hate and sadness started to burn in her young heart. She told herself she would never forget. One day, she would make them pay. A few years went by. The world was still a very sad place. Shosana had gone to a big city, Paris. She had a new name there and lived a quiet life. She had a small movie house. It was her safe place. She loved movies. They could tell stories and make you forget your troubles for a little while, but she never forgot her family. The anger was still inside her like a sleeping animal. One day, a young German soldier named Zoller saw her. He was a war hero. He had shot many enemy soldiers from a tower. They even made a movie about him called Nation's Pride. Zoller thought Shosana was very pretty. He started coming to her movie house all the time. He tried to talk to her. He tried to make her like him. Shosana felt sick when he was near. He was one of them. They were the people who had ruined her life. But she had to be nice to him, or they might find out who she really was. Zoller had an idea. He told his important army friends, like the Nazi boss of movies, that the big first show for Nation's Pride should be at Shosana's little movie house. He thought this would make her like him more. When Shosana heard this, her heart pounded. All the important Nazi leaders would be there. Maybe even the biggest, meanest Nazi leader of them all. They would be in her movie house. The sleeping animal of anger inside her woke up. This was her chance. A very big chance to get them back. She and her good friend from the movie house, who was like a brother to her, started to make a secret fiery plan. Around the same time, in another part of the war, a group of American soldiers made lots of trouble for the Nazis. They were known as the Bastards. Their leader was a man named Rain. He was a tough man from the mountains. He had a mark around his neck. He got his men together. Most were Jewish American soldiers. They had very good reasons to hate the Nazis. Rain told them, "My name is Lieutenant. Rain and I'm putting together a special team. We're gonna be dropped into France dressed as civilians. And once we're in enemy territory, as a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're gonna be doing one thing and one thing only, killing Nazis." He wanted each man to bring him 100 Nazi scalps. And they did. They were strong and scary. They would attack fast, with big knives and baseball bats. They made the Nazi soldiers very, very scared. One of their most famous men was known as the Bear Jew. He would show up with his bat. It was the last thing many Nazis ever saw. Another bastard was a German soldier himself, who had hurt many of his own bad officers and was saved by the bastards. They were all a little wild, but they were fighting bad people in their own way. The bastards heard about the big first show in Paris. The British Army also had a plan. It was called Operation Kino. They wanted to blow up the movie house and get all the Nazi leaders. They sent a smart British helper. This man knew a lot about movies and spoke German very well. He went to meet the bastards. They were going to meet a famous German movie star, Bridget. She was a secret spy for the good guys. The meeting was in a small bar in a basement. The British helper, along with two of Rain's men, went in. They were dressed like German soldiers. Bridget was there. But so were many real German soldiers. They were having a party for a new baby. The room was full of smoke. Everyone felt a bit nervous. The British helper tried to act normal, but he made one tiny mistake. When he asked for drinks, he held up 3 fingers the English way. Germans did it a different way. A watchful Nazi officer in a black uniform saw it. His eyes got small. The feeling in that little basement room got very tight. You could almost feel it. The Nazi officer started asking questions. The British helper tried to talk his way out of it, but it was too late. "They know who you are, sir," Bridget said in a low voice to the British helper. All at once, guns were out. Bang, bang, bang. It was a very bad, fast, and bloody fight. When the smoke went away, almost everyone was dead. The British helper was dead. Rain's 2 men were dead. The watchful Nazi officer was dead. Only Bridget was alive, but her leg was hurt very badly. A bullet had gone right through it. Rain and the other bastards were waiting outside. They heard the shots and ran in. Rain got Bridget out, but their big plan was now a big mess. Bridget was in a lot of pain. She told Rain that the biggest Nazi leader himself would be at the first show. It was Hitler. The bastard's job was still on, but it was much harder now. They didn't have anyone who spoke German very well. Rain decided he, the bastard, called the Bear Jew, and another of their men would go to the first show with Bridget. They would act like they were her Italian friends. Their Italian was very bad. "Grazie," Rain would say. He did not sound like an Italian at all. It was a wild plan. The night of the big show came. The movie house was shining with lights. Nazi flags were everywhere. Important Nazis came in fancy cars. Inside, Shosana was calm on the outside, but her heart was like a storm. She checked the locks on the doors. She looked at the big pile of movie rolls she and her friend had hidden behind the screen. These movie rolls burned very easily. Her friend, the projectionist, was in the room where the movies were shown from. He was ready. Tonight, her family would be paid back. Hans was in charge of the guards for the big show. His cold eyes did not miss anything. He saw Bridget come with Rain, the one called the Bear Jew, and their other man. He spoke to them in perfect Italian. He knew right away they were not real Italians. The way they spoke was very bad. He played along for a while. His smile was like a cat playing with a mouse. Later, he took Bridget to an empty room. He had found one of her shoes at the bar. He also found a paper she had signed. He put the shoe on her foot. It fit just right. "What will I do with the German soldier you were found with?" Hans asked in a calm voice. "Are you going to let him go?" Bridget said. She tried to sound like she had hope. "No," Hans said. His voice turned cold like ice. Then, fast and very mean, he grabbed her and choked her. Bridget, the brave spy, was dead. Hans then had his soldiers catch Rain and another of his men. But he did not kill them. Hans did something new. He took them to a quiet coffee shop. He made a deal. He said he would let the plan to get the top Nazi leader happen. If they agreed, he wanted many things. He wanted to be told he was not guilty. He wanted to become an American. He wanted a house on an island and lots of money for the rest of his life. He wanted to be a hero. Rain was very surprised. He had to call his boss on the radio to say yes to the deal. At the same time, in the movie showing room, Zoller went to see Shosana. He was angry that she didn't like him. "I'm a hero," he said. Shosana was tired of him. She was tired of all of them. As he turned his back, she pulled out a small gun and shot him. Zoller fell. He was hurt. Then he turned and shot her too. Shosana fell. She would not see the fire with her own eyes, but her plan was working. As nation's pride played, Shosana's friend locked all the movie house doors. Then Shosana had set up a signal. The movie on the screen changed. It was Shosana's face, big and clear. "I have a message for Germany," she said. "You are all about to die, and I want you to look deep into the face of the Jew who is going to do it." Then her friend threw a lit cigarette into the giant pile of movie rolls. Whoosh! The screen blew up in flames. The fire spread very, very fast. At the same moment, the bastard called the Bear Jew and the other bastard with him ran into the top Nazi leader's private sitting area. Hans had let them into the movie house before he caught Rain. Their machine guns were blazing. They shot the top Nazi leader and the movie boss many times. The movie house became a giant, loud fire. The Nazi leaders screamed as they burned. Shosana had gotten them back. The next morning, Hans, Rain, and Rain's bastard friend drove to where the Allied soldiers were. Hans gave himself up to Rain. He was happy. He thought his new, wonderful life would start. "This is a deal I like very much," Hans said, smiling. Rain looked at him. He had said yes to the deal. But there was one more thing he had to do. He told Hans's driver to get out of the car. Rain's friend scalped the driver. Hans watched. He was very scared. Then Rain told Hans, "You'll be shot for this." Hans was super scared. He said, "There's a deal." "Yes, there are papers." Rain said in a calm voice. But I'm going to give you something you can't take off. He pulled out his big knife. He pushed Hans to the ground. He carved a Nazi mark deep into Hans's forehead. Hans screamed. When it was done, Rain stepped back. He looked at what he did. He turned to his friend. You know something, friend, he said. A little smile was on his face. I think this just might be my best work ever. And so many good people were lost, but a great badness was stopped, and those who did very bad things learned a lesson. Sometimes justice finds you when you don't expect it, and sometimes the good guys have to be very, very tough and very, very scary to make sure the really bad guys don't win. Don't.
你太棒了，你学完了全部内容，你离英语自由又近了一步。下个视频见。